So L'Eptérien, it's a social enterprise, so it means that it's an organization which has an economic activity but with a social mission. Actually, this organization collects clothes, second-hand clothes. They have two social objectives. First, they try to reinsert people who are far away from the job market within the economic activities. And then they try to have a surplus. And with this surplus, they finance some social activities, such as shelter for homeless people. I mean, this is their main social activity. They really want to know what they bring, what are the social value that they manage to create. To what extent can we quantify social outcome or more managerial issues. What we really wanted is to have a multidisciplinary, or multi-dimension approach, like the social network, the health, the psychological health, or on the competences. You can't really separate the economic and financial dimension with the other type of dimension. Just to map all the type of effect that they think they have, and with the social worker, with the direction, and with the beneficiaries, this was already a lot. A tricky dimension here is if you want to really isolate the impact, you have to be in a very specific situation where it's possible to randomize people, to be able to compare what would be the situation if you wouldn't have the project, which is just impossible with shelter like L'Eptérien, because you have a lot of shelter like that. So it means that a person who wouldn't go to L'Eptérien, they probably will go to another shelter. If you want to be very strict about this dimension, it means that you will only study the impact of stuff that it's possible to have this totally perfect situation at the beginning. It's just impossible to do the same with shelter for homeless people in Belgium. We know that there are some bias because it's not the perfect situation, but so we need a lot the knowledge of people from the field to be sure that we interpret the result in a correct way. Yeah. I want to stress the fact that their knowledge was really important at different steps. It was very important, first to define the research question properly, to be sure, okay, we want to really approach the social impact, it's really what they think it's important to them. Not only take the opinion of the social worker, we'll really go to the beneficiaries and we develop the questionnaire with them.
We are not going to say how they should do their work, because they are the experts of their work. So now we are computing the results, and the idea is to go to the field so they can explain why we see that in the results and how we should interpret it and how we should act upon it. And I don't think it's going to be the university saying, based on the results, we think you should do that.
They really told us, for example, that staying in the shelter, at the end, when you go out and you have a better situation, you are very proud of yourself, because you go through very complicated situation and you manage to go out and to be part of the society again and stuff like that. And so you are very proud. But you had a lot of situations in which you had the impression that you didn't really respect yourself, because you had to say yeah, or yes to the authority to be sure that you would be able to stay in the shelter. And actually you should explain much more why you didn't put the light on all the other dark part of the picture.